Everyone is warmly welcomed once again to our Real Insight YouTube channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most intense crime thriller series ever created, Mouse, the Korean drama. I've already brought 6 episodes for you all, and if you haven't watched the previous episodes yet, don't worry. I've added a card linking the Mouse series playlist right at the top. Also, I'll put the links to the past episodes in the description below, so make sure to check those out before watching today's episode. At the end of the previous episode, you saw that after Barum regained consciousness, he started behaving in a very strange way. So in today's episode, you'll be able to see why Barum is behaving that way, the reason for it, and also what happened to Senihon. So if you still haven't subscribed to our Real Insight YouTube channel, don't forget to press the subscribe button below and also click the bell icon next to it. Alright then, let's go see what happened in the 7th episode of this series. At the end of the previous episode, you saw Barum behaving strangely after regaining consciousness. But today's episode starts by showing some events before getting to that point. Therefore, I will explain every event that happened before, one by one. After Sanyeon attacked Barum, Barum also gets injured there. Because Kumuchi shot from a distance, Sanyeon also gets shot. Today's episode starts with both Barum and Sanyeon being admitted to the hospital. Because Sanyeon hit Barum's head with a large iron pipe, Barum's skull is fractured. The doctors tell Kumuchi that Barum's frontal lobe has been severely damaged. So because of this, Barum is in critical condition. When Kumuchi asks the doctors about Sanyeon's condition, the doctors say the bullet Kumuchi fired has severely affected Sanyeon's internal organs. Therefore, Sanihon's condition is also serious at this time. Meanwhile, Sanihon's mother, that is Kim, comes to the hospital. Kim knows very well now that Kumuchi shot her son. Since Kumuchi is also at the hospital at this time, Kim comes and starts scolding Kumuchi. At this time, Kumuchi tells Kim, "Don't cry fake tears here for your son. Your son is a terrible serial killer. Do you know how many people have died today because of your son?" Meanwhile, the police are trying to find Hankook. Because this terrible serial killer, Sanyeon, was hiding Hankook. Now, there's no way to ask Sanyeon where Hankook really is. The police go and check Sanyeon's car a bit. Then they find some blood in a small drawer-like compartment under the mat in this car. Additionally, they check CCTV footage and such. But the police can only find details up to the point where Sanyeon went to destroy the evidence. When they go there and investigate, they find out that Sanyeon has already destroyed all the evidence. At this time, it's shown that Hankook's mother is also at this hospital now. So Hankook's mother tries to enter Sanyeon's room to ask Sanyeon where her son is currently. While the police handle the commotion that arises there, Bongi goes to Sanyeon's room. Actually, Bongi knows that Sanyeon also killed her grandmother. Therefore, at this moment, we are shown Bongi placing a pillow over Sanyeon's face, suffocating him, and killing him. After the doctors are informed that Sanyeon died, the doctors believe he died due to an internal shock. After that, the doctors also tell the media that Sanyeon, the terrible serial killer, has passed away. Then we are shown Bongi going to the ward where Barum is currently. Bongi is the one who places the baby bird in Barum's room, because Barum himself raised that baby bird. At this time, Kumuchi also comes to Barum's room in the hospital to see Barum. Then Kumuchi sees Bongi near Barum. It's during this time that Barum regains consciousness. After regaining consciousness, he sees a baby bird in front of him. It's after that Barum breaks this baby bird's neck and throws it out of the room window. Bongi then comes to this room after Bongi arrives here. She sees that the baby bird she placed near Barum has now fallen out of the building and is dead. Bongi doesn't know that it was actually Barum who killed this baby bird. It was indeed Barum who killed that baby bird. Why is Barum behaving like that? Let's see what we can find out about it later in this story. After Baaram regained consciousness, doctors come and check Baaram because he underwent many major operations in the past few days, right? Therefore, the doctors realize that Baaram doesn't remember certain things at this time. He remembers things from normal life, but Baaram can't recognize anyone present at this moment. At the very least, Baaram doesn't even remember Bongi right now. Actually, Bongi is also very sad now because Baaram doesn't remember her. At this time, Baaram's aunt and uncle have come to take him home. After that, Baaram is discharged from the hospital. Now, Baaram is actually a popular figure in Korea because Baaram went alone and fought with a terrible serial killer like that, right? For that reason, Baaram is now a popular figure among the people. Meanwhile, it's shown that Kumuchi and Detective San have an inquiry because Kumuchi shot Sanyon at that time. At this time, Detective San's head detective comes and tells Kumuchi, "Say at the inquiry now that you shot him by mistake." Actually, Kumuchi shot Sanyon intending to kill him. Because of that, a big problem arises in this inquiry. The inquiry directly asks Kumuchi, "Didn't you shoot by mistake?" At that moment, Kumuchi says, "No, I shot Sanyon intentionally. A terrible serial killer like that doesn't deserve to live. That's why I shot him intentionally, for him to die." Actually, at this time, Kumuchi is trying to get imprisoned somehow because Dr. Han is in prison now. Somehow, because everything went wrong with this inquiry, Kumuchi gets a 1-year suspension and a 6-month salary cut. Additionally, Detective San gets a 1-year transfer and a 2-month salary cut. Then we are shown Baaram preparing to move out of the house he's currently living in. Therefore, Baaram's friend, Dongku, also comes to help load the things from this house. While loading the things like that, Baaram comes out of the house and sees a certain tree near his house. As soon as he sees that tree, Baaram's head starts to hurt. At the same time, Baaram starts seeing various things. Upon seeing this tree, Baaram remembers Sanyoin's face. Why does Baaram remember something like that just by seeing this tree? Let's see what happens next in this story. Meanwhile, you might remember, there's the murderer who killed Bongi's mother and father. That murderer is still in prison. At this moment, we are shown that murderer being released now. This murderer's name is Kang Deok-soo. Kumuchi goes to the place where this man is being released. Kumuchi tells this man, "Now that you're out of prison, live well. Don't even think about troubling Bongi or anyone else again." Actually, it was Kumuchi who caught this murderer named Kang Deok-soo and handed him over to the police. For that very reason, Kang Deok-soo gets very scared when he sees Kumuchi. So at this time, Kumuchi tells Kang Deok-soo, "Anyway, I'm already planning to kill someone and go to prison. Therefore, you behave well from now on." Then an event happening 1 year later is shown. Now a murderer is following a woman to kill that woman. Let's see what kind of terrible thing will happen after this. Now, a year has passed, right? Kumuchi's suspension is now over. Kumuchi gets a new appointment in the Evidence Management Division. You might remember, when this series started, I mentioned Detective Park, that Detective Park also works in this same Evidence Management Division. Detective San is currently working at a substation as a sub-police officer. Now that a year has passed, at this time, we are shown Baaram also coming to this same substation to resume work. Even though Baaram actually came here, they don't give him any work to do because he fought with a terrible serial killer like that and was in a very difficult situation, right? Therefore, Baaram gets a lot of respect at this police station at this time. Then it's shown while San and Baaram are on patrol. They see a thief running away after snatching a woman's purse. San then runs after this thief. But at this moment, Baaram runs faster than San and tries to catch this thief. After seeing that, San is also surprised because Baaram wasn't such an active person before. But San realizes at this moment that Baaram is not like that now. However, at this time, Baaram succeeds in chasing after this thief and catching him. He catches the thief near a canal. There, Baaram sees that another woman's body has been hidden nearby. After that, detectives and medical examiners come to the scene. At this time, those people guess that since the woman's purse is missing, this is a murder committed due to theft. But as soon as he sees this, Baaram says, no, this is not a murder committed due to theft. The woman's purse was taken to mislead the investigation. After hearing that, the detectives here also realize it's true. But how did Baaram actually say something like that? Although Baaram was an honest police officer before, how did Baaram see things that even skilled detectives like these couldn't see? Let's see what happens next. So, you might remember the police officer named Chikuk. That terrible serial killer also tried to kill Chikuk, right? Chikuk is still in the hospital at this time. At this time, we are shown Baaram going to see Chikuk. That is Baaram's friend. And then he goes for a meal with Dongu. At this time, we see Baaram going into a washroom here. After going there, he feels like his nose is bleeding. After a short while, Baaram sees that no blood has come from his nose like that. Dongu also comes here. Dongu comes and tells Baaram, "You've changed quite a lot since that day. You were at a murder scene this morning, and you didn't even seem too shocked by it. You weren't like this before, actually." What Dongu is saying now is true, but even Baaram can't comprehend this change that has happened. Then we are shown Kumuchi. Kumuchi now works in the evidence management division. All the evidence found near the woman Baaram discovered comes there. From there, Kumuchi realizes at this time that the rope used to tie up that woman is missing. When Kumuchi then goes to meet the officers to ask about it, he overhears those officers talking about what Baaram said in the morning. As soon as Baaram saw that murder, he said it wasn't something caused by theft, that there was a separate incident there, right? So as the officers talk about this, Kumuchi overhears it. So at this time, Kumuchi goes to meet Baaram. Actually, even when he sees Kumuchi now, Baaram doesn't remember him properly, but after a little while, Baaram remembers that this is Detective Kumuchi. So at this time, Kumuchi asks Baaram about that murder. At this time, Baaram shows a photo and says, that woman's hands were tied, that knot was an easy knot to untie. The murderer intentionally tied the woman's hands that way. Kumuchi asks, then why did the murderer do it that way? At this time, Baaram says, this murderer did something like that because he wanted to have fun. Additionally, this woman has been stabbed in the back with a knife. Baaram also gives details about that. He says at this time that the murderer stabbed this woman in the back not intending to kill this woman. Baaram tells Kumuchi at this time that the murderer likely did something like that, stabbing the woman in the back like that, to watch the woman suffer in pain and enjoy it. Furthermore, Baaram says that whoever this murderer is, this is not their first murder, because the police couldn't find any evidence near this murder. Someone who killed for the first time would leave some evidence behind. Therefore, this isn't the body of the first person this murderer killed. Perhaps they have killed before. Additionally, Baaram says this murderer won't stop after killing just this person. There could be more murders in the future. After that, we are shown Kumuchi. While working in his evidence management division, some evidence related to another woman's body is brought in. That woman's hands also have some wounds on her hands, just like Baaram described. But among this evidence, Kumuchi looks for a rope, because the rope used to kill the previous woman had a peculiar knot. But even though this woman had wounds, among the evidence found near this woman's body, Kumuchi cannot find a rope with such a peculiar knot at this time. Therefore, Kumuchi secretly goes to the house where the body of this second murdered woman was found. He goes there and checks if there is any rope. But Kumuchi cannot find a rope at this time. However, Kumuchi sees some clothes hung up on a rope in a strangely orderly manner. Those clothes are hung on that rope with equal gaps. When he goes near the clothesline and examines it, Kumuchi realizes these clothes still have dirt on them, meaning they are unwashed clothes hung up like this. Therefore, Kumuchi realizes there must be some secret here. After that, Kumuchi takes down that rope a bit and looks. Then Kumuchi realizes there is some blood on that rope. Then Kumuchi realizes at this time that what Baaram said was exactly right. Because Baaram said at that time that this murderer won't stop after killing just this person, that more murders could happen in the future, right? So Kumuchi now understands that the rope used to hang clothes was used to tie up this second murdered woman. Also, Kumuchi realizes that this murderer tied up and killed this woman in the same way, then untied the rope, hung up some clothes like this, and left. After that, Kumuchi brings Baaram here too to investigate this further. So at this time, these people find a broken mirror. After seeing that, Baaram says, then this murderer must have intentionally hit this woman's face on this glass, because this murderer wanted to watch this woman suffering through this mirror. Separately, the police have found out that this woman was given CPR, so, you know, after someone loses consciousness, the chest is pressed hard to make them breathe again. Therefore, thinking her husband performed CPR on this woman. The police have now arrested her husband. At this time, Baaram says it couldn't have been the woman's husband who did that. It must have been done by the murderer himself. So, Kumuchi asks Baaram at this time, if this murderer came to kill this woman, why would the murderer himself give this woman CPR? At this time, Baaram says this murderer wanted to kill this woman slowly. That's why after the woman lost consciousness, the murderer must have given CPR, and after she regained consciousness, started killing her slowly again. So now, Kumuchi really can't imagine how Baaram arrives at such skillful conclusions. After that, Kumuchi asks Baaram, how do you say so many things so accurately? So Baaram says, everything comes into my head, like what I would do if I were the killer. Before Baaram came here, Kumuchi took down that rope, right? Baaram says one exact thing about that rope too. Baaram says the clothes on that rope must have definitely been hung with equal gaps. At this moment, Kumuchi can't even imagine it. So Kumuchi tells Baaram, what you thought was exactly right. Why did you think something like that? At this time, Baaram says, I can't figure it out either. It just came into my head. I can say one more thing. This murderer might be someone who likes to do things perfectly. That's why the clothes on that clothesline were hung neatly. So, Baaram is indeed arriving at skillful conclusions about this, right? Therefore, Kumuchi tells Baaram at this time, Baaram, let's team up and catch this murderer. You must also realize now that this is a serial killer, right? Now Baaram and Kumuchi are preparing to work together to catch this serial killer. Let's see what happens next. After that, Kumuchi goes back to his workplace and investigates this not used by the serial killer a bit. After seeing that, Kumuchi remembers one thing. Since Kumuchi now works in the evidence management division, Kumuchi starts searching among the evidence for where a knot like this existed. Kumuchi then pulls out a certain box containing evidence from here. I will explain to you what's in that box. You might remember Detective Park. Detective Park is still searching for his missing daughter. Dr. Han is directly responsible for Detective Park's daughter's disappearance. This is how that case happened. Back in the day, this case was entirely handled by Detective Park. When Detective Park was consulted about it, Detective Park had said it would be better if a serial killer like this died in the womb rather than being born. Dr. Han got angry about that. To take revenge for that, he kidnapped Detective Park's daughter and son. Detective Park's son was found hid by a car the very next day, but Detective Park's daughter is missing to this day. Years have passed since that case, but Detective Park believes his daughter is still alive. They have found certain body parts containing Detective Park's daughter's DNA, but Detective Park doesn't believe it. He still believes his daughter is alive. This is the connection between Detective Park and the head hunter. What Kumuchi found was that the knot used to tie the hands on the corpse containing Detective Park's daughter's DNA and the knot tied on the corpses by the current murderer are exactly the same. However, Kumuchi gives both these types of rope knots to another examiner here and asks the examiner if there is any connection between these two rope knots. So after examining both, this examiner says, "This old knot found among the headhunter evidence looks like a knot possibly tied by a child. It's tied in a somewhat irregular manner. But the knot used by the current serial killer, who is murdering now, he has tied the knot systematically. Therefore, at this time, Kumuchi needs to team up with Baaram again, talk about this, and go directly to meet Dr. Han to discuss this." Meanwhile, you might remember Choi. Choi has also heard about these other murders. After that, Choi comes to where Kumuchi works to find out Kumuchi's opinion. Actually, Kumuchi and Baaram are inside talking about this right now. At that moment, Choi secretly comes and looks at the box containing the evidence of the person who is currently dead. In that box, Choi sees the rope not used by the new serial killer. After seeing it, Choi is also surprised. The reason why someone is investigating this so keenly will become clear to you in a little while. Later, we are shown Kumuchi and Baaram preparing to go meet Dr. Han. As they are about to leave from here, Baaram notices that one box here has been slightly moved. Baaram then tells Kumuchi about it. Kumuchi then scolds Baaram, "I accept that you are skilled, but you're not skilled enough to remember the angle a box like this was kept at." Kumuchi doesn't really believe what Baaram is saying at this time, but Baaram told the absolute truth. Because it was from that box that Choi secretly came, examined the evidence, and secretly left from here. However, next we are shown Kumuchi and Baaram leaving to meet Dr. Han. Dr. Han is in prison now, right? Dr. Han has said at this time that he doesn't want to meet Kumuchi, who killed his son. He said he is willing to meet and talk to someone else. Now, the only other person here is really just Baaram, right? Baaram then comes to meet Dr. Han to find out what he has to say about this tied rope knot. Baaram goes here and asks Dr. Han, "Did you teach this knot you used years ago to anyone else?" At this time, Dr. Han says, "No, I didn't teach that to anyone. It was just a certain type of knot I used." Additionally, Dr. Han tells Baaram at this time, "You had surgery, didn't you? It doesn't seem like it was very successful because your eyes look different now." After that, Dr. Han shows a mouse he has with him. It says, "This mouse is the one in prison with me now." As soon as he saw that mouse, can you imagine what comes to mind? You might remember when this series started, I said, a small child put a mouse inside a box containing a venomous snake at a zoo and enjoyed watching that snake eat the mouse Dr. Han's son, or rather Sanyeon, right? That little Sanyeon put this mouse inside the box and enjoyed watching the snake eat this mouse. That memory starts coming back to Baaram at this moment. You must understand now, during the fight between Baaram and Sanyeon, Sanyeon attacked Baaram quite severely, right? After that, Baaram had a major operation. It was after that operation that Baaram regained consciousness. After that operation, you must realize that the person who is now Baaram is a different person. What could be the real reason for that? Leave a comment below. So that's how the 7th episode of this amazing series, Mouse, ended. What is the reason for Baaram's change? What will the newly emerged serial killer do next? What will Kumuchi and Baaram do together to catch this serial killer? You can find out all that in the future. So let me remind you again, if you still haven't subscribed to our Real Insight YouTube channel, don't forget to press the red button below and subscribe. Alright then, let's meet soon with the next episode.